And this person is Cancer moon. This is like the home placement for the moon sign. So Cancer moon, this person is, this person is actually truly intuitive. So what does that mean when I say it? It means if you're hiding any type of emotional baggage from your past, any type of deeper feelings, like maybe you're trying to, not lash out or not give in to whatever. Maybe you're not trying to, act so this way or that way. You ain't trying to be all out of sorts. You ain't trying to be negative about a situation, but you're like trying to hide it and trying to like put on a fake smile and shit like that. They like know about all of that, mannerisms tell, and just they have a sixth sense, a true sixth sense. I say they have the true sixth sense, true like that. They do. These people do. You can't like hide that shit from them. But they like to. I call them backtrackers too because um, in doing that, right, in being truly intuitive, like, cause this ain't me, but these people are like that, so they can, basically from your current state, they can understand how your past has created you, or they think they know, and they think they know, but and they kind of do. I ain't gonna lie, but they also don't get it because they weren't actually there. They're kind of, I don't know, these people are like essentially kind of like psychic, if they're like really on their shit. But you know, they know shit like that. They know if you're like hiding some shit. They know if you're, you know, trying to place deceptive acts or whatever. They understand that you have a past, right? And that you have been through something, or lack thereof, not been through anything. They know about that. They know if you have, deeper connections to other people, or if you're going through this life and not doing shit like that. And this person specifically, when they get emotional like that, they're like, I don't think I want to be around you. I want to, be there for you, but maybe you ain't, enough. You ain't into being deep enough for me. Deep enough to where I can, trust you to be around me. But I kind of want you to stick around, because they be looking at that shit too much. These people get emotional. They get Cancer moons get emotional. They actually get emotional. They can be very, negative towards themselves. I didn't do this enough, or this enough, or that person did this to me. Now I'm, really upset. They start to cry a lot. And then they're like, and they look back at the past a lot more than people think they do. And that's what does it. They tend to look at the negative things too when they're emotional. They're like, oh my God, that person did that to me, and they should have did this better. They should have did that better. And I don't like them because they didn't do this, or they're like, why did they do that? What did I do? Because they do it on themselves too. How could I have done that differently? How could I have, done this differently? You know, how could I have, how could I have, not been such a, bitch or an asshole or whatever to these people, and then they like these people kind of have regrets, when they get like this, they get and be sad for a long time and shit, but then when they get over it, they actually, understand also, or deeper understand that other people have these type of deeper emotions too. And then it, like I said, becomes their superpower to look at any person and like, and if they like can lock in on them and shit, to know that, oh, this person might be worth, you know, getting in their emotions, or being, around for a deeper type of experience, connection, because I see some of my past in them. They have a way of seeing into the past with somebody else. Not just that person, but like, goddamn, people who are involved with their past too. These people are, sidekicks. I would call them sidekicks. Um, but I would also like, I don't know, those people, you know, ain't always the worst. Like, they do understand emotions probably the best out of all people. That's why they're ruled by the moon. They've been that way their whole life, and like, they can handle mood swings better than another person. So like, people will confide in them for that type of thing. They want to come to this person and talk about the past with them. And this person doesn't mind because they see that shit. And they're like, you're gonna be a little more forthcoming with me about this shit. And I do like it. I like sob stories and all that extra shit. About the past and what you have been through and all the emotions that go with, coming from, you know, this to that and everything else. People that were involved in your, backstory, or whatever that. Um, the negative side is, though, they can get lost in shit like that, lost in the past, lost in another person's past, and focusing on that shit too much. You're not truly moving forward in other things. But like I said, they're there for people and shit. The ones they really care about them. And when they're emotional, they're just really, crybabies about shit. And they need somebody like, who's kind of, I hate to be, but like somebody who's more practical and, grounded, to be there. Like, yes, that did happen and everything else, but now we have to move forward. We have to actually work towards something else. We ain't always depressed or whatever. But yeah, be cool, cool on the corner. Try to be cool, cool on the corner, because you are a moon god, moon goddess, one of the other things. Be cool, cool on the corner.